this is going to be really just an informal dialogue. You know, we have some points that we want to share up front on this topic about our profession and how it's emerging. And then after that, I know Jim, you know, will help facilitate any questions or comments from the membership. So I'll kick it off, and then I'm going to turn over to I think Van, and then what I wanted to talk about was the piece about competencies. So at McDonald's, for example, everybody that works for McDonald's in the corporation, there's 8 competencies that really we're rated under every year. When we do our performance reviews, mid-year reviews, throughout the year, we're rated on these 8 competencies. I'm going to share them with you. The first one is communicates candidly and effectively. The second competency is puts the customer first. Third competency is lead change and innovation. Fourth, builds and leverages talent. Fifth, plans and acts strategically. Sixth, achieves through teamwork. The seventh, builds, I think, leads through influence. And the eighth is executes for results. So those are the 8 competencies. I'm not going to talk about all 8. They're all very important, but I do want to highlight 3. And the 3 that I think for this group and for myself that are very important are 1, builds and leverages talent. 2, plans and acts strategically. And 3, leads through influence. So builds and leverages talent. So that you really need to start with yourself. And you heard Dolph talk about that. You know, education. You know, to me, there's really 6 components, I feel, to having a firm foundation. So if you talk about build and leverage talents and you start with yourself, I think we all need to have a firm foundation that we can build off of. And that firm foundation has 6 components, and this is my opinion, is education. Once you have education, you have knowledge, or at least allegedly, right? So you should have knowledge, right? And then with that knowledge, you apply it. And once you apply it, you gain experience. So you have education, knowledge, experience. And then I believe it's important to have a strong foundation of beliefs, and whatever that might be. It could be religious, could be political, whatever, but you know, steadfast beliefs, morals that are uncompromising, right? And then values. So I think that if you have those 6 items, education, knowledge, experience, beliefs, morals, and values, then now you as a leader can now apply that foundation and build off of it yourself, and then also apply that and build a team. The education doesn't stop after high school or college or whenever you got your degree or your certification. It's continuum, much like Dolph talked about. You've got to continue learning. You've got to remain relevant. You need to stay on top of the trends. So continue to push yourself. Have your own individual development plan. We call them IDPs at McDonald's, but you should have your own individual development plan that constantly changes. You're constantly adding to it because you're constantly learning and changing. And when you do that and remain relevant and remain and current, that really helps you then now build your own talent, yourself, and obviously your team. And it's not just in your function. It's business. So Dolph talked about it. Be a student of the business. Talk and learn broad. Don't just focus on our function. We need to stay current within our function, no doubt about it, for us to be subject matter experts. But first and foremost, I think we need to be business professionals. So learn outside of your function and continue to challenge yourself in the business, finance, whatever it might be. So that's builds and leverages talent. Plans and acts strategically. So I forgot to bring the magazine up here, but everybody that registered, you got the LP magazine, and I'm going to steal from Ann Sullivan. If you haven't read Ann's article, please read Ann's article. But she talked about, from her boss that she learned from, is that we need to relate to all levels of the company. And you heard Dolph talk about it. You need to relate to all levels of the company. Manage up and down and across. So you may hear the term vertical leadership and lateral leadership. And that's what that means. You need to understand senior management's goals and objectives and strategies. Dolph talked about you need to be at the table. You need to be a participant and a contributor to the strategies. And they need to see you and view you as a strategic thought partner. So, and how you do that is the first competency, is building yourself, building and leveraging talent. And then he talked about, I like that, you get marbled into the fabric, by being at those tables, at those decision meetings. And then once you understand what those strategies are, now you then take that back to your team and yourself, and you ensure that your strategies and goals and objectives are aligned then, obviously, with the business. And at all levels, that's within the corporate office, that's within the restaurants or the retail business you're at, with the store managers, with the employees, with the operators. Again, managing at all levels and across. So that's plans and acts strategically. And the third competency, leads through influence. I think this comes pretty natural, hopefully, to all of you. Now, this is important. We have limited budgets, right? Most of us don't have the budgets that would require us to ensure that we have all the security systems and equipment that we want in place. We usually have to have operations pay for that or whatever. So, but you need to be, you're a salesperson, if you will. So but you need to lead through influence. And unlike, I'm sure, many of your companies, McDonald's is a relationship company, huge relationship company. But if you have what I mentioned earlier, that if you build that credibility, that knowledge, that experience, that education, you continue to stay current and relevant. So you do that first competency. You apply that to your second competency about managing across, knowing what the executives' or strategies and initiatives and priorities are, and you align with those, your team, you're going to naturally have an opportunity to influence others. They're going to see you as somebody that they respect and that has credibility because you're staying relevant and current and you're contributing and participating. One thing I'd also suggest is that you establish a relationship with a mentor, somebody within the company that is respected, somebody at a higher level within the company that you can go to as a sounding board, somebody that can coach and teach. I've been doing this for a long time, and I have a couple mentors that I have currently, and I've had for a long time, and I change them. So I would really recommend, if you don't have a mentor, and I could talk about that for many hours just in itself. It's a impressive and complicated topic, but having a mentor, one that is going to help you, and that's important. And also, be a mentee, especially for some of us that have been around for a while. But all of us should have mentees in or outside of the company. And I believe you, it's going to be rewarding to you, and you're going to learn as well as from not just your mentor, but also being a mentee. And the last thing, I'll steal from Michael Peaster, who's the Vice President of Global Safety and Security for McDonald's. I meet with him regularly, and he's always challenged me to make sure that You know, we're relevant, but how we're relevant is all those other things I mentioned, but having numbers, having metrics, having measurements, having dashboards, having scorecards. Did I miss anything, Michael, on this? Anyway, but the key is have some measurement. Everything that we do, you got to be able to put a measurement to it. Try at least. I know it's hard and it's difficult, believe me, it's challenging. But if you don't come with measurements and what the value proposition is, then leadership's not going to have much patience to listen to you. So it's very critical to have that, and that that ties into leading through influence, because now they see that you're talking their language.